Okay, it's Dean Leggy, another edition of Riding Home here. Just wrapped up another practice of the dogs. Well, another. Georgia's second practice, which is on a Saturday here. Today, earlier, you had what we used to call Picture Day. I think now it's called Fan Appreciation Day. Back in the day, they used to have this outside on the practice field. And intelligently, Georgia moved almost everything inside with the exception of Kirby, who was outside and didn't seem to really mind it because he had a tent over the top of him. I took the time that I had today. We probably had 12 minutes out there, something like that. It wasn't a long time. And when you only have a limited amount of time, you really only can watch one group. And for me, that was the outside linebackers today. Now, they're an easy group to watch just because of the way that practice is laid out. The most difficult to watch are the defensive backs because they are strung across the far end. I think the biggest thing with that group, and I wrote about this, and if you're not a member of Dog Post and you're listening on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, go check out Dog Post, DAWGPOST.com. You can get 2 months of coverage for $2 right now. That's a pretty good deal. You're not going to get a better deal than that in terms of what you pay for out there. And the outside linebackers, have an old Georgia star out there with them, Jarvis Jones. And Jarvis was always a guy that you could depend on. I mean, unless he was hurt, not only was he going to play, but he was going to be a troublemaker for the other side. I mean, you could just talk to the Gators about him to know how much trouble he gave them. I mean, and he won those 2 games for Georgia. And you look out there at that group, and you've got everything you want. You've got quick burst guys. You've got long, lean guys. You've got just big, massive guys like Brent Cox. And the question is, like everyone else, everyone has questions. The question is, can these guys turn up the pressure? Because a season ago in Atlanta, and I'm on the field for these games, okay? So I get a chance to see up close, closer in often cases than the coaches, how difficult a time that Tua had with Jonathan Ledbetter and DeAndre Walker. I mean, they were causing some serious grief for Tua. And this was a guy who I didn't think was really a lot better. He played unbelievable until LSU. And then from the LSU game on, he sort of didn't seem like himself, but certainly at that Georgia game, he had issues. And it was Jonathan and DeAndre. I mean, those guys had been around the block. They aren't great pass rushers. I mean, DeAndre's a better pass rusher than Jonathan was, but they're gone. And they drove Tua crazy. I mean, he was 10 of 25. They were going to lose that game, Alabama. And honestly, they would have lost to Georgia twice with him as their quarterback. He didn't have it. And that's the question, is who is really going to do it this season for the Dogs in terms of, wreaking havoc? Who is going to be the havoc person? Now, they've got guys. Nolan Smith, Jermaine, obviously Brent Cox, Adam Anderson, and I write about this quite a bit today. So that's the big thing that I would pay attention to moving forward. And we can't ever know until they play games, but it is going to be very curious to watch that Vanderbilt game because obviously they're a 3-touchdown favorite. They're a significant favorite. That would tell you they have less than a % chance of losing that game. So they're a 3-touchdown favorite on the road in conference play. You don't get that a lot in the SEC. But it's going to not be so much. I mean, if you're all but checking the win column before you go to Nashville, what are you watching? What are you looking for? Does it matter how you play? I would say, yeah, it does. It matters how you play. Because at the start of the season, even when you lose, it matters how you play. At the start of the season, this group needs to show life. It needs to show that it can get pressure. And if it's not getting pressure, that someone else is. You can be the decoy. But do they have anyone to decoy with? I think everything is there. Some of these players, Nolan, Britt, these are five-star prospects who are, in Nolan's case, this is his first season on campus. But this will be Brent's, I think, real big bite at the apple for the first time. Walter Grant is another guy. This is a position that used to make you special, or it made Georgia special for some time because they had guys like Justin Houston and Jarvis Jones. And, David Pollock didn't play outside linebacker, but he was an edge rusher. Those are guys that change the game because they affect the quarterback. Who is going to be Quentin Moses? Who is going to be Jarvis? Who is going to be, even Marcus Howard? Who is going to be the guy that when it's 3rd and 8 and they got to pass, who's going to be the guy that ends the game? That's my question. I'm not saying that person doesn't exist. I'm saying who is it going to be and when will that person show up? These are important questions that need to be answered for this team to get where it's got to go. And get where it's got to go is at least the playoff. I think if it's not the playoff this fall, and we have to see that they don't get to the playoff, but if they don't get to the playoff, it's got to be considered just something happened wrong or it's a failed season. You're only going to get so many cracks at this thing. It doesn't matter who you are unless you're Clemson. In the SEC, the window closes. Talk to the Gators, talk to Tennessee, it closes. And you have to get what you can get while you can get it. And Georgia needs to get theirs. And they need to get it this season or soon. They've got the players. Now this really is up to the coaching staff. To me, it used to be they don't have the players they needed to really win it all. And they vast amounts of time, they did not. Really, they did not. We can't really say that anymore. Zamir White looks the part right now. I hope he stays healthy. I don't think we need to know what DeAndre Swift looks like. We know he's a star. Jake Fromm's the most experienced quarterback coming back in college football. That, experience that matters, playing in a national championship game, 2 conference championship games. Who else has done that? Tua, I guess? Well, Fromm started more games. So, this is a team, you're not going to be starting over in 2020, like you very well could be with the departure of Fromm into the NFL. So it all adds up. If you can't run on Georgia, then are the linebackers going to be there on 3rd down? It's money down. It's 3rd down. It's time to get off the field. Are you going to get off the field, and who's going to get you off the field? So that's what I watched today. Go to dogpost.com to get more in-depth coverage than you're going to find elsewhere, certainly than you're going to find in social media. But it was a good day today with Kirby. And listen, UGA is the jewel of college athletics. There's nothing like that guy. Ralphie the Buffalo, that's an impressive creature. A Bevo at Texas just kind of sits around and poops. UGA does the same thing, but he's more regal looking than that. There's nothing like UGA out there. Someone who literally is another person's pet, but is the icon of college sports. Every person that I've ever met who's been around UGA that are fans of other schools, they don't care. They want to take a picture with UGA. Now, maybe Tech people are not that way, and maybe the Gators, some of them are not that way, but everyone else who's not in a direct rivalry with Georgia, they want to have their picture taken with the dog because it's just so unique in sports. You just don't have this in any professional sport, and there's nothing like UGA in college sports. I don't know how Charles Seiler and his family have done this for as long as they have, but it is amazing devotion to an institution. It is fascinating to watch people's reaction. I watched UGA for 30 minutes today with children who sometimes can be scared, but the dog is always very cool, calm, collected. He might like the way you smell. He might want to lick you, but typically he is very calm, sedated, and cool. And he's a national treasure in terms of college athletics. I don't know any other way to put it. You can't say that about a mascot on the sideline as a human being in a duck outfit. But Uga, on the other hand, is something to behold for sure. All right, I've reached my destination. We'll have more on Dog Post. Please keep listening, viewing, etc. on YouTube, Instagram, iTunes. I appreciate the audience we've got. About 10,000 people listen every time we talk, and that's very flattering. So thank you for your eyeballs and your ears, and we will see you tomorrow.